Chafing Armor Podcast, episode 88. A simple score. Welcome back to the Chafing Armor Podcast. I'm Michael Corley, your irascible Dungeon Master, and we open tonight with the sound of a clanging iron door as you are shut into the prison, the main prison of Zentil Keep. You and your partner, Ineskier, have been arrested. You had a simple score where he, the tiefling, and you, the very sneaky Kinku, were going to sneak into a rich house and steal a purported valuable magical item. You found not only platinum, not only gold, not only scrolls, and not only a silver frame, but you did find half a staff, which rumors are, and you don't put too much stock in them, may be worth to the right buyer as much as 10,000 gold. And unfortunately, you were discovered by a small child where you successfully did some amazing circus work and managed to, in fact, convince her that you were with the circus. Unfortunately, before that, she had already triggered a silent alarm, bringing the city guard and getting you both arrested. All of your weapons have been taken from you. Of course, the loot has been taken for you. However, before we began, you asked me something. I would like you to make a sleight of hand check, please.
Okie dokie. That's a 19.
A 19. So even though they are able to take that platinum, which is killing you because 10 platinum is worth a lot of money. More money than you've ever had at once. And but because of the various secret compartments in your clothing, you were able to secret away the silver frame, which you think to the right buyer might be worth, 20, 30 gold, something like that. Certainly not worth all the trouble of getting arrested, but at least may make this not a total loss.
It'll be enough for some stays at a quality inn instead of the floor of the inn in the slums, at least.
Yes. It's definitely worth your time, and you are very, very sneaky with your hand.
May even be able to have a bath.
I mean, let's not get crazy. However, in canon, I would like that your character bathes exactly like a bird.
Oh yeah. It just splashes around in the water and gets out and.
Yeah. So we're just gonna say that's canon. Well, I'm kidding, but I'm also not kidding. So, however, as you are in the jail cell, you see Ineskiar just pacing back and forth. He's just furious, and he goes, "This is dirty. This is dirty. I'm telling you, somebody ratted us out. I tell you." How do you respond?
Make the sounds of a rat.
And he nods. He has gotten very, very good at translating your speech, as it were, and he knows exactly what you mean. And he just nods his head, and he's just like, "As soon as we get out of here, we're gonna find who did this, and we're gonna put them in a world of hurt. I tell you, a world of hurt." And the guard who's guarding the various cells, there's about 3 different cells that all kind of touch each other, that are separated by bars. And the guard says, "I wouldn't worry about that too much. I think both of you are going to be discussing matters with old Mr. Chop." And y'all both know exactly what he means. In this city, there are no hangings. It's to the chopping block. And
the queen of the city just likes to go off with the heads.
Yep. Exactly. Off with the head. And that's. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But he just laughs and kind of walks back down. Is there anything that you would like to do while you're in the cell?
Is there anybody else in the cell? I mean, it's a prison, but there's me and Inaskia in a cell. Is there anybody else in our cell? And
yes.
Who's in the cell next to us? Can we see that or hear that?
Yes. So first of all, in your cell, there is two just big, burly humans, just men, probably in their 30s. They both have just thick blonde hair that's just like matted and just coming down in waves over their hair. Both of them are wearing what equivalent of loincloth, which is not usual in this area. It's a bit chilly up here. And they are both just sitting and just staring off into space. They're in your cell.
So we've got two thuggish barbarians in our cell.
Mm-hmm. In the cell across from you, you see, most interestingly, a drow. And that is not usual at all. There is a drow, a male drow, just sitting by himself. He's wearing completely plain black clothing. You see they have taken his shoes. They have taken his belt. They clearly do not trust anything about this drow. You don't. In fact, you're not even quite sure why he's alive. A lot of times they're just killed on sight. But he is just sitting, and he's not. He's actually looking at the two of you. He's just staring forward.
Having. Oh, actually, no. Hang on. Wait a minute. Yes. So this Kenku understands Undercommon. Having been, well, historically there's been a lot of trading of his race between many different kinds of peoples because they're very talented in what they do, given that they are masters of mimicry and they can mimic anything. Handwriting, sounds, creations. You know, if they taught how to use tools specifically they can create facsimiles of anything. So they're often very well traded around as slaves to high-born people or people with lots of money who might need that kind of thing. And perhaps, well, no, this character's family was once party to it was human, but he believes he may have heard something about a mind flayer at some point. But they spoke very, very broken kind of Undercommon. He can kind of understand it. And so, as a result, he kind of says or repeats a word he's heard in Undercommon, which he believes is hello, but is actually like dishwasher.
So are you going to say dishwasher to this drow?
Yes. But
okay.
The Kenku thinks, my character thinks, because it's just a word that's been said to him in that period of time, just over and over and over again, he thinks it's a greeting. So that's how he uses it. He uses it as a greeting. So he's just saying dishwasher instead of hello.
Okay. So you call out, your voice crackling to life, and you call out dishwasher. And he has been looking at you, but he's been looking through you. And that's something you're very used to. And then suddenly his eyes lock on yours. And he slowly stands up, and he walks over and, wraps one hand on the bars between y'all. And he says in Undercommon, I believe this is destiny.
Dishwasher?
We will need to work on that, he says again in Undercommon. And the guard bangs really hard on the metal that covers both of your front with his spear, and he says, "Sit down, shut up, filthy drow." And he actually uses a word that is that you would not repeat in polite company to describe drow. Let's just say it's a reflexive verb and is something that you would not want to do to your mother.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's been filed away in my mimicry repertoire.
There you go for future reference.
In fact, he will repeat exactly what was just said at the guard.
He turns and he looks at you and he shakes his head and he goes, "Oh," and then he turns and looks at Ineskier and says, "Is it true? Can they really do they just bounce back stuff?"
So remember, I don't know if you remember or not, but for the audience, it's perfect mimicry. So it's the same tone, it's the same voice. It's like an echo right back at them. The same voice just comes back out of the Kenku. So if the guard had been female, a female voice would have come back out. It's perfect mimicry.
So he hears.
He hears his own voice.
Mm-hmm. So what I'll say instead is he says, "That is creepy as hell," and he scratches his beard, and you see just like flakes of dandruff come down as he scratches it, and he turns to an Eskier and he goes, "How do you put up with that?" And Eskier just kind of shrugs and he goes, "You get used to it." And at that point, another guard walks in, and a well-to-do looking gentleman walks in as well. Very tall, thin gentleman walks in as well. And they whisper and murmur to the guard, and he turns and looks at them like what? And he kind of shrugs, and he turns to both of y'all, and he pulls out his key, and he unlocks the door, and he goes, "I guess this is your lucky day." And the tall, thin man walks forward. He's wearing a top hat, which is quite unusual in this area. And he says, "Hello. If you would both like to remain with your heads attached, I would highly recommend that you come with me. Just so you know, you are more than welcome to try and escape, but if you do, my archers will cut you down from the shadows before you get 10 feet. Are we clear?"
I will make the sound of an arrow hitting wood.
I will take that as a yes. Now, if you will please follow me, and if you could return their equipment to them on the way out, that is a good lad. And you see him pass what must be like 80 gold to both of the guards. And they nod enthusiastically. And once you are well out of the holding area, they do return all of your equipment to you, including your weapons. And the guard kind of looks funny at your knives. Tell the listener again what your knives look like. Your daggers.
So we are carrying an interesting assortment of weaponry: a sickle, a short bow, a club, and two customized daggers. Our daggers they're just normal. They're normal daggers. There's nothing really special about them. Just the hilt. The hilt is leather wrapped, but the leather has little semicircular cuts in it. So there's little flaps raised up that look kind of like feathers. And the pommel of each dagger is carved into the shape of a raven's head.
Okay. Perfect. And he kind of looks at them funny, but he hands them over to you. And that guard, again, he's scratching his beard and looking at you weird. And he goes, "Hey, if it's your lucky day, I guess it's your lucky day. It must be fate." And the tall, thin man turns back and looks at him and just shakes his head slowly and says, "This is very different than fate." And begins leading you. Oh, go ahead.
My character looks the one guard dead in the eye and just pulls out the single descriptive word that he used to describe the drow. Just the one word, and says it at him, and then leaves.
And he narrows his eyes at you.
In the guard's voice.
Yeah, right back at him, which gets some really interesting looks. It's like you used a really nasty even for calling a drow that. It's not the thing you would use in any polite company, and it turns the head of all the other people, and they're just like, oh, gross, because they recognize it being his voice.
As I walk away, the lilting sound of a lady's laughter.
It echoes through the jail area as you make your way out. The tall, thin man begins leading you through the streets. I must ask, are you going to make any effort to escape? Or
no, I will not. I'm curious. Why? There was a lot of money passed hands, and I want some of it. So I'm gonna follow this guy. Maybe he'll pay me.
Okay, very fair. Could you give me one quick spot check?
I can do that. That is a 13.
Excellent. You don't see any mystery assassins in the shadows, but you're also not sure. You're really not sure if they're out there or not.
I'm not going to take the risk.
Yeah. Who knows? You know that he certainly could afford to hire them, so there's that.
Oh yeah.
You walk for quite a while, and you finally come to a grating that would lead to what you would assume would be the sewers, but when it opens and you go in, there's no smell of sewage or anything like that. It's simply leading to an underground passage that goes down and down and down below in the city. You have heard stories of under passages like this in the city, but you've certainly never seen anything like this. You've only been in like the very early stages of the sewers, and it's not somewhere you would really want to be. But you've made your way down here, and finally you come to a door, and you see him place his hand on the door, and then he whispers a single word, and you hear him pronounce the word failure wrong. And the door, the stone in the door turns where he placed his hand, and the door just slides open. A big, that sliding sound that stone makes as it scrapes.
What was that word he said? Because you kind of cut out there. Failure is wrong? Or?
He purposely mispronounces the word failure. So he says it like Falzuya or something like that.
Okay.
And that triggers this door opening. Of course, you have now heard that word.
I have now heard the word, yes.
A little FYI there. And you make your way down even more passages, but you sense that you are being watched, even though you don't actually see anything. And finally, you come to a opening, and in this opening, it's simply got a banner laying across the opening, just like instead of a beaded curtain, it's just a flag basically, and it's a dull white color. And in the center is the eye of a dragon. And the eye has actually been scored with fire, cutting through the eye. And you have not seen this symbol before. But
I mean, if they can afford to make their own banners, they can afford to pay me.
There's that.
I'll make the sound of burning, the sound of a burning torch, as I see the banner.
Okay. The tall, thin man turns back at you and smiles slightly, and you walk inside, and you don't know. Like, part of you is imagining like you're gonna come into like a huge summoning circle, and there'll be like I don't know, like cultists or something in there. But what you see is a fairly, it's an underground chamber, but it's a fairly comfortable room. And there are about 20 people in here, and it's a complete mixture of races. There are dwarves, there are elves, there are drow, and there's a couple of tieflings in there, and they are all dressed completely normally. You notice that a lot of them are dressed slightly fine, like nicer clothing, the kind that you would immediately place for pickpocketing. And
a lot of nice marks in here.
Yes, exactly. And all of them are wearing some version of that symbol. The eye in each one is slightly different, but the eye has been, damaged in one way or another. But the thing that you definitely notice is that all of these things are removable. They are basically like badges that they are wearing. So they're not like part of their clothing. They're not tattoos. They're definitely something that you can take off when you leave here. And a man in the center gestures for you and Ineskir to come forward.
Well, this is Ineskir's show now. I'm one for the shadows, not for. I mean, previous acts aside, I'm not real one for performance. So he's more the performing one. So I literally make his own voice back at him as all right, and step back and in dramatic fashion, kind of usher him to the center of the room.
Okay. And what then occurs, because I don't want to subject the listener to me talking to myself for an extended period of time.
Oh, come on, that's why I did this.
There you go.
Role play, damn it, DM, role play.
and then the two start kissing each other. No.
Now kiss.
The man in the center, he is a bald human. He is also fairly tall, very nondescript. You would not notice him in a crowd. He says, "Greetings. My name is Zalava, and I welcome you to our group. We have a amusing name that we call ourselves. We are the Cancer Crone, and we welcome you. We have come to offer you a job." And with that, he steps back and he says, "Please, we would like very much for you to dispatch of a criminal. We would like for you to dispatch of a man who has killed countless. We would like you to destroy a creature that has wreaked havoc on 2 continents, massacred countless people, and is now loose in our city. But he is powerful. He is strong, and therefore a direct confrontation would likely result in failure. But we have orchestrated and found certain openings. We believe that he will be vulnerable tonight, and we would like you to dispatch him for us. If you do, you will receive enough payment that you will never need to work again." And he snaps his fingers, and 2 of the sort of servants come forward, and they both just open small chests, and they just dump gold and gems onto the ground. The gems especially catch your eye.
Oh yeah. I will echo the sound of all these things falling on the ground. Just at the shing, ding, 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 ding.
But here's the thing: is we need to make sure that you're right for this job. We need people who can get in and get the job done. And that requires stealth. So we have a slight testing that we would like to do, which we will begin now. And he claps his hand, and boom, the entire chamber is thrown into darkness. And I need you to roll for initiative.
Okay. That is a 17.
17?
Mm-hmm.
So, let me see. It would probably be helpful if I had actually rolled the other initiative. Oh, that's going to work out well. They rolled a 1. So, you have dark vision, is that not so?
I do.
And what you see coming out of the shadows is a creature. You don't know what. It does not appear to be entirely corporeal. It is kind of like steaming up. And it is moving towards Ineskier, and he does not appear to see it coming. Ineskier does have low light vision, but he does not have dark. He does not have as good a vision as you. And it seems to be sneaking up on him. What would you like to do?
So, having been with Ineskier quite a while, and we've developed. He understands, as we've said, he kind of understands some of the things that are being said by myself. We have a way of communicating with each other. So there are certain sounds that we've managed to work out together that mean danger, that most people would not put together because of what we do. You don't exactly want to be standing in a room amidst a bunch of guards screaming out danger. It's just, you don't really want to do that.
Right.
So some of the sounds we've made have been things like the sound of a squeaking rat, not the same one I made in the cell, but a very specific rat squeak. The squeak a rat makes when it is in danger. Things that kind of thing, like the sound of an opening door, which as a rogue or a thief, you really don't want to hear the sound of an opening door. That's a bad call. So those are the kinds of things. So that's what I will make the sound of a squeaking rat. And I'll do it. So it's coming. Which way is it coming at him from? Like from his right side, his left side, the front, the back?
It's coming straight behind him.
Straight behind him. It'll be 2 quick rat squeaks, which is behind you. Squeak, squeak, and he's. The idea that he hears it and he spins around, or he knows that something's coming from behind him.
And with that warning that you give, there is no hesitation whatsoever. Neskier spins, and as he does, he draws his hand crossbow, fires. There's that click as it fires, and he rolls a 12, which unfortunately, even with his bonus, is not going to be good enough. He is, of course, firing on the hip, and this creature kind of darts to the side, but he was not able to get a sneak attack on him, and instead is simply coming, and its kind of smoke-like hand comes up and becomes claws, and he rolls a 1. That's fun. Definitely doing the old Dungeon Master rolls tonight, but he just rolls a normal percentile, so he just misses. And so that will actually bring it back to you.
This is clearly something I've not really encountered much before. It appears to be made of smoke. Or smokiness, but it also exists in the dark. I'm going to light a torch.
Okay. That takes your action to light a torch.
I'm gonna
and I
light the torch and I guess see what happens, because they cut the lights for a reason. This thing obviously probably doesn't like light, so it would make sense to at least see if that is the case. This could go poorly, and that probably the darkness is it just prefers the darkness so it can hunt, and light is just easier to, I don't know, but the thinking is we're in the dark. One of us needs to, I can see, but the other one can't, so this torch should hopefully maybe help. But yeah, the idea is I'm gonna grab the torch. Oh no, wait. I have oil. I'm going to throw some oil on the ground and light that instead. Thinking about it, because I have flint and steel. So I'm gonna toss some a pint of oil, because I have 5. A pint of oil on the floor, and I'm just gonna light it. And yeah, see what happens.
Okay. Now, I won't make you roll to successfully do that. Are you trying to do it in such a way that it's going to light this creature on fire?
I actually think I might do it in a line, kind of aiming between it and Ineskia, and sort of like maybe create like a wall of flame. It's not going to be a great wall of flame, but it'll be enough. Hopefully.
What I would like you to do is just give me just a dexterity bonus roll, just a straight roll, just to kind of see how well this goes.
That's a 23.
23? Okay.
Sorry,
so
22. 17 plus 5 is 22.
You're it's almost like a wrist motion, like a flick.
Yep.
And you just like that, and then you spark, and whoosh, it goes up. Like you said, this isn't magical. It's just that happening. And it flames up, and exactly the sort of thing you were hoping is the creature flinches away from the flame, and makes like a kind of a moaning sound, like and does not seem to care for that a lot. That is your entire turn. Do you want to move any?
Yeah, I want to back out so that I'm not visible by said flame.
Okay.
At this moment, obviously this is going to be a bit of a distraction, so I want to move away from the flame and towards Ineskia, so that, you know, if the creature turns in the direction that the flame came from, since it'll be going in a line, I'm not there no more.
Gotcha. Okay, and Ineskia draws a dagger and throws it. Because he doesn't want to take time to reload his hand crossbow, and he doesn't want to jump across the flame because it seems to be keeping the creature back. He actually rolls a 17 with his dex bonus, which is impressive. He does hit, and so that does 4 points of damage, which is not a lot, but is the maximum amount of damage for a dagger. So it's a good solid hit.
Especially throwing, that's not bad.
Yeah, especially most importantly, it does hit. With this being kind of a smoky-like creature, you weren't quite sure if it was going to or not, but it does hit, and you hear it cry out, and it is now the creature's turn. It is actually going to start to flow towards you, because it doesn't seem to want to cross that flame. So it comes towards you, and it gets a 17. Does that hit?
It does not.
Okay. So you feel a cold scraping across. Are you wearing leather armor? Is it?
Yes, studded leather.
Yes, studded leather armor, and you like it kind of sparks off a few of the studs. You actually see one of your studs like pink, 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 off into the distance as the claw catches on it.
Oof.
And that will bring it to your turn.
Okay. So we're in complete darkness. In this room that was once filled with people. Where did they go? Are they just in a circle around the room, or?
So you have dark vision. I believe it's 60 feet.
60 feet, yes.
Yeah. So you can actually see they have all stepped back, but they're all just standing there. They're there. They didn't vanish or anything. It would have been more impressive if you didn't have dark vision, but you do. So you can just see them. They've all just kind of stepped back, mainly behind the chairs they were sitting in, just to kind of give them a little protection. but they're just watching. They're there.
Where was the light in this room coming from?
As far as you can tell, it was coming from the candelabra above, and so either it was magical the whole time, or they have used magic to put out those candles.
He said this required stealth.
He did absolutely say that.
Combat's not going to get us real far, especially since that's not what we're here for anyway. We're not fighters. We prefer not to get into combat at all. Well, my character does anyway. Inaski is a little more hot-blooded, shall we say. That's an infernal joke, everybody. So I'm thinking, where was this big boy, the big man?
The tall one. He was say that he's north, facing north, and he's still there. He's just standing Well, he actually is not behind his chair. He's just standing and watching.
Okay.
He's just kind of stepped back a little bit more to give y'all room than anything.
I'm going to go off the assumption that he can't see. Like, he can see the fire, but he can't see me.
Okay.
And I'm going to try... I'm going to try and sneak attack him.
So you're going to try to sneak attack the leader?
Yes.
Or the apparent leader. Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Do
I need you to...
move silently check?
Yes,
or...
I need you to give me a move. That is exactly what I need you to give me. But it's not at disadvantage because it's really dark in here.
It's really dark. And I just got a 20. So that's a
20.
34.
Okay. So roll to attack.
I will be doing this with... I should be doing this with my sickle.
Okay.
This is not fantastic, but it'll do. And because I have taken weapon finesse with my with my dexterity weapons, I can apply my dexterity bonus rather than my strength bonus. Because daggers and sickles can have weapon finesse applied to them. So that gives me a +9 to attack. And that is important because that's a 16 plus 9, 25.
Okay, that hits. He is really fast, and he senses something at the last minute and moves, but you still hit him.
Okay.
So roll for damage.
So that's 1d6 plus sneak attack damage, which is 3d6.
Okay.
So the attack damage itself is 6 plus 12. So 18 damage.
Okay. With an 18, and you know very well that could easily be a lethal strike. You know what that means. But he turns toward you, and his eyes are not supernaturally, but they are just blazing. And he turns and looks at you and says, "You dare." And then he just slams his hand down on the ground, and I don't know, say like a wave of thunder comes flying at you, and I would like you to make a reflex saving throw.
Okay. As I'm doing this, I'd like to repeat his words right back at him.
Okay.
The same words he said in his voice. Stealth is required. Stealth is required.
Okay.
And with the reflex saving throw... So I have... where did I write all this stuff down? Evasion and uncanny dodge. Okay. I have evasion. If hit by an attack in which a successful reflex save will deal half damage, instead I take no damage. So even if I save but still take damage, I will... If it's halved, I will take no damage instead.
Okay.
So my reflex saving throw is very, very good. What's my reflex save? Oh, okay, that's a 29. I have a reflex of 10 and I rolled a 19.
So you the wave, you kind of turn with the wave and you let it flow past you, and the room just boom in this small, relatively small enclosed room. The thunder wave is just enormous, and it goes out in every direction. And the other people are knocked down, just knocked flat on their ass. And he just claps his hands above his head, and the lights come back up on the candelabra, and you now see the fantastical creature as a man. It's a man, and he's wearing some kind of belt, and he looks over like, are we done? and the leader nods, and he clicks the belt, and instantly the smokiness about him dissipates, and he steps back and goes, "Oh, okay."
Okay, boss.
Zalavar, the tall bald man, gestures over to a very, very thin, long black hair woman, and he says, "Pranilla, tend to me." And she comes forward, and you've never been able to afford it yourself, but she lays her hands on him and casts a healing spell and heals him, and you see his wounds close up.
I'll wipe off my sickle and sheath it, and once again repeat his words right back at him. Stealth is required. Stealth is required.
And you see the fury just come into his eyes again, and then he just laughs. I like this one. I like it very much. You are both hired. Now, he claps his hands again, and the people come forward, and each of them place 2 of the larger gems in your hand. And he says, "Consider this a down payment. Know, however, if you try to leave without fulfilling your obligation, we can also use these gems to track you. When you complete your assignment, all of these will be yours, each a chest full." The piles of gems and gold are laying on the ground. Will be your reward. All you need to do is to kill one wounded individual. And he casts a spell, and there a silent image slowly rotates in the center of the room. It is a tall, bearded man. And then he gestures to the image again, and the image changes as it shifts and becomes more bestial. And he says, "I need you to kill Osokai, the Shifter Ranger." And we cut to you and Eneskier walking out on the streets, and you're both holding those huge gems. Yours is an emerald, and it just sparkles in the moonlight. What would you like to say?
I'm going in Eskier's voice. No bloody way.
He shakes his head and he goes, come on now, Bales. Don't be like that. This is our chance. You want to be scraping and scrimping for the rest of your life? We came within a half-inch of the chopping block. This is our moment. We take out one guy, and look, he's a bad guy. He's not even a nice man. You saw him. He looked like a killer. Did he look like a killer to you?
The sound of a bear roaring. And then again, no bloody way.
And he says, okay, I get that he looks dangerous, but you are a fair piece. And look at what they've given you. You're going to be amazing. Before you left, they actually presented both of you with a gift. They gave him a new short sword. And they gave you a new sickle. And they told you that this sickle is actually magical. And you feel the power in it. It is a +1 sickle. And you can tell that it's just perfectly balanced, and it's better quality than any weapon you have ever owned. They just want you to get the deed done, and they've even told you where it'll be. And he slaps you on the back and says, "Come on, Bells, this is gonna be great." And as he does, he dislodges slightly from your vest, and that silver frame comes out just a little bit.
Does he see it?
No, he does not. He kind of looks at you slightly because he could feel there was something under there, but I mean, as far as he knows, it's just like your thieves' tools or something.
I mean, we got a lot of good stuff. I'll echo back to him. Let's at least go check it out.
So you both make your way towards the Bobcat's Paw, which is an inn where this creature is supposed to be staying, and they believe that he is going to return tonight and that he will be vulnerable. As you get towards the end, you see the strangest thing, which is a far too large, but not monstrously large, boar come rooting by, and roots, and it gives you both just the dirtiest look. You didn't know a boar could give a dirty look, but it gives you both a dirty look, and then it goes off towards the woods. So, rooting in the ground and pulling up roots and truffles.
My character makes the sound of my character makes a sound of a suckling pig on a spit.
Somewhere in the distance, you think that the boar might have heard it, but you don't know. I make the sound of running water, which is essentially I need to go pee. And I'll take my leave from Ineskia for a second because I need to think about this one. I'll even make this like a sound that's like, go on ahead. I'll catch up. All right. And just for the listener, has your character ever done an assassination before?
He has not. He's not an assassin. He's a thief. He's a rogue. He's not affiliated with anybody. Like guilds. He's a kenku. Guilds don't exactly. They know their abilities, but they're also mimics. They're snitches. Okay, that's what kenkus are. They're snitches. So, just by virtue of the fact that they mimic what they hear, you can't trust them not to give you away because they mimic exactly what they hear. So a Thieves Guild isn't really going to be a good place for them unless, the Kenku is mute. I mean, they are mute, but they can't make any sound at all, which kind of defeats the purpose. So they don't really go in for guilds, and he's not been one to kill people. So he needs to think this over. This guy has a reputation. He's not world famous, but there have been rumors heading around of this guy and his friends, shall we say. In fact, I believe some of the rumors of that bloody walking hut with legs are tied to this guy and his friends. I don't want to meet a walking hut. No, thank you. I don't want to meet a house with legs, especially if it's tied to this guy, who's been known to jump off balconies and tear off heads. And the stories about this guy are insane. I mean, I don't believe most of them, but you can't. When you keep hearing them, many a truth is spoken in jest. There's a nugget of truth to every exaggeration. So, even if all of that is most likely complete BS, we're still going to kill a guy. I don't do that. I carry these weapons for defense. Like, I've hurt a lot of guys, but most of the people I've gotten into fights with run away before I get to kill them. So it's just I've never killed somebody. So I need to think about this one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna I just looking at Ineski, he seems really into this, and I'll just make the a noise. So you go on ahead. I need to take a leak, and yeah. While I'm doing so, I'll pull out the silver frame and have a look at it, because I didn't really get to look at it as it was in the chest, because it was just there. I was like, oh, silver, I'll take that, and I'll secret it away. I didn't really get to have a look at it, but while I'm doing my business, I'll have a look at this frame and get a better look at it, and maybe appraise it, because I'm a rogue. What's his worth?
Yeah, absolutely. And you pull it out and get to a place where the light is a little bit better, because even though your dark vision, you can see perfectly well, you can't see details.
Yeah.
With your dark vision, and you get to a place where there's a street lamp, and the light is a little bit better, and you pull out the silver frame. It is a very valuable frame for a frame. Like you said, I still probably would get you like 20 or 30 gold.
I rolled a 22 on the appraise roll.
Okay. Yeah, it is probably closer to the 30 because of the intricate scroll work. You were thinking of it more just as the silver, but it's a really well done, well made frame. So it's would be probably you think obviously it's actually worth more than that, but you think you would be able to get 30 gold for it. And but of course that also means that you're looking at the picture, and you think about the young girl, Petniak, who her mother calls Pet, and you think about that stout human woman that you saw holding the dagger as the guards came rushing in, and you think about now the slightly pointed ears of Pet, and that she is almost certainly a half-elf, and you think about the elf in the picture, the other woman. Now, obviously, it's not the direct lineage for biological reasons, but it's clearly
Magic exists.
Magic does exist. I'm not going to write anything off. It might be in this in this canon. Could be, but could be a number of things. But the thing that you didn't see when the guards came rushing in is you didn't see that elf woman. Now, maybe she was just traveling, maybe she was on business, but somehow you don't think so. You think maybe she's no longer around. And you wonder if this is maybe the last picture that girl might have of her other mother. Again, there's no way for you to know this for sure, but in just the way that you appraise things, you kind of wonder if that's not true.
And it was kept in a chest. I mean, this is valuable to them in some way. Like,
yeah, it was clearly not being kept there because of the frame.
This was their safe, essentially. This is where they kept all their important documents. There's a low choking sound coming from the Kenku. It almost sounds like a sob. He's alone too. He lost his family relatively young. He did have a partner, but she was killed. He never got to sire any children, but it's not like he doesn't want them at some point. Maybe they'll get to fly, because he probably won't. But who knows? Maybe maybe his children will get to fly. He's feeling some pangs of regret, especially if. Can I get a closer look at this frame? Like, are there any engravings on it, or any distinguishing features that kind of make it stick? Like, I mean, if it's engraved, I'm not going to be able to pawn this thing, but I'm feeling like I probably don't want to anyway. But
so you feel kind of with your slightly claw-like hands along, and you feel on the back there is an etching, and that you didn't really notice before, and you see a very simple script written in it that you hadn't noticed because of as I said, it has very intricate scroll work. you thought that was just part of the pattern, but it actually says, Asfialor, my love for you is eternal.
I gotta give this back. I can't pawn this, and we're having some pangs of regret here. Like, you know, this is worth 30 gold, but memories of somebody you lost are worth more. And the daggers I have were from his partner, from my old partner. You know, she had them custom made. It's one of the last things she gave me before she died. So I can't take this away from somebody else. I can't do that. It ain't right. It just ain't right. Like, I can't. You know, as much as this is worth, no one's going to give me any money because it's got an engraving on the back of it. I'm gonna have to go and give this back.
Okay.
It's just it.
And how would you like to go about doing that?
Let's go in the same way we got caught last time.
Okay.
No,
they're not up to the second floor.
Yeah, they're not going to expect it. At least I hope they don't.
That is very likely.
I'm going to assume the window's been fixed, but you know,
it's actually been. I mean, they're rich, but this just happened.
They're still under contract. It's going to be 2 or 3 days before the contractor gets to your house.
There's just a simple board laying across it right now. Like you said, they're not expecting this at all, so it's not actually blocked. Especially, it's just to keep out the cold.
Is there enough room for me to get my hand in and unlock the window so I can lift it up and get in, rather than
what I mean. The window is
okay,
is more or less gone. There's literally just a board laying against the where the window used to be.
Move the board then.
Yeah,
that's as best I can, and just kind of slip in.
Just give me a quick stealth check.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's a 29.
Okay. Yeah, it's very, very easy, and the floor is carpeted, so it's very, very easy to just, stealth it aside, and you sneak your way in. And where are you heading for?
I think I'm gonna put it back. Like, I could just leave it like on the floor somewhere or whatever, but I don't know. Something tells me I should just put it back where I found it.
Okay.
Just because. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something in my head. It's like, just put it back where you found it.
Okay. You make your way back into that room. You stealth through perfectly, and you make your way back to the chest. And this time, because part of your brain is thinking it, you actually hear the sound of that small chair being pushed aside, and a small figure crawling through the secret passage into the room.
I will turn, and I will sit down, and I will hold out the picture frame with my head held low.
She walks towards you. You see that she has that same glyph stone in her hand, though it is not glowing at the moment, along with her stuffed owlbear.
That's a terrifying thing for a child to have.
It is.
Stuffed owlbear. That's all horrendous.
Yes, it is as adorable as it possibly could be, but it is weird.
This is a little medieval goth girl. This is what this is.
You don't know the story behind that. There's definitely a story there.
Oh yeah.
But she says, "Mama said that you were. Mama said that you were a bad guy."
I will repeat the phrase back at
Mama
her.
said that you were a bad guy.
Again, her own voice. And then, with Inaskia's voice, just say, "She's right."
She's right.
And mutter in his ridiculous tone, since he said it a couple of times, "I'm sorry." It's a weird gruff thing, because Inaskia doesn't really apologize for much, but he has said it a few times, and that's that. It just kind of comes out.
Yeah. and she kind of tilts her head, and she reaches out and she takes the frame, and she says, I don't remember Mama O really, really well, but I remember she said that everybody can be good if they want to.
There's a slight tear in his eyes.
And she starts moving back towards the little secret passage, and she turns back to you and she says, you probably ought to get going, because Mama's probably going to wake up soon.
I will make the sound of the circus music again.
And she smiles and she says, I liked the Tarrasque. It was funny. And,
I will make my way back out.
Okay, and she ducks back in, and she is gone, and you make your way off, and you look up, and you can see that the sun is starting to rise, and you realize that if Ineskier was supposed to do the job, he would have done it already, and that you would have missed out, which means you would also miss out on the payout, but you also would have missed out on being forced to kill. And what would you like to do?
Some things just aren't worth it. There's this. I guess I'll start heading back in towards where we were supposed to be.
Okay.
Like I may have not participated, but doesn't mean my partner's still not going to need backup at some point. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Good to.
Yeah. So you make your way at being stealthy, being quiet, making your way back. While the sun is starting to come up, it's still dark. It's just
mm-hmm.
pre-dawn. And
while I'm heading there, I'm gonna do a quick check of my stuff, because he did nudge me.
Mm-hmm. He did slap his hand on your back.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna do I was too distracted by the thing, the silver frame.
And sure enough, as you suddenly think that and think about, wait a second, I was really distracted by this frame, you check and you find that one of your special made daggers, one of the ones made by your mate who was killed, is missing.
Now I definitely need to find him, because he knows that's not on. You don't touch those. Everything else is fair game for that little game we play. Everything else is fine. Take my money, take my coins, take my sickle, take pouches, whatever. It's funny, we give them back. You don't touch the daggers. Just as I don't touch his bloody crossbow.
Yep.
He crossed the line. There's something. I gotta go and find him. That's not on.
Okay. And you make your way to where you think he might be, and you do find him, and you do find your dagger. I should say, I'm sorry. You do find your dagger. You find it buried into the back and through the heart of Osokai, the shifter ranger of the Eldine Reaches. And he is lying dead behind the bobcat's paw as the sun rises. Just as a group of powerful adventurers find you with the matching knife on you. And that's where we'll end Chafing Armor. Thank you for playing today, Lee.
Thank you very much.
This is going to be very interesting. If you, the listener, want to see what's going to happen when this new character meets up with the others, if how quickly he's going to be murdered. It will be
Place your
interesting to
bets
see.
now, folks. Place your bets
Yes.
now. Because
See how quickly.
yes, 1 round, 2 rounds.
Yes. How long he will last for when Penton casts lightning bolt.
Oh yeah, or when Morezi accidentally drops her weapon. Or
yes.
because she won't do it on purpose. It'll be an accident.
Yep, it'll still count. Or Tix just walks forward and casts cause wound and melts your face.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways this can go.
A lot of ways for this to go. But appreciate you playing today.
Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing what happens next.
Yeah, everyone tune in, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. And until then, we will roll with you soon.